back to another episode of Breaking the Line. It's been too long since I've done this, so I'm just excited.
So maybe it's been like a week for you, but it's been like 2 months for us.
Yeah, we took some time off, helped me get some school done and have
the holidays and such.
all that introspective time of my life, just sitting at home wondering why I'm doing what I'm doing.
The existential crisis really set in.
Yeah, but we're glad to be back, so what are we back doing again?
I have no idea. What are we doing?
Taking a deep dive into the arts of mime and choreography.
Oh, yeah.
And today we have a special one for y'all. Because it is Project Understory.
That sounds like such a cool thing. Can you explain that for us?
No, I have no idea what we're doing.
Okay. Well, Project Understory. So Project Understory, as you may be familiar with.
Well, we already did one, Christ.
Yeah, we did do Christ. So if you've seen that one, this is, of the same project. But essentially, we are trying to choreograph the entire Bible in mime. And we have some...
And that's not difficult at all. Just want to throw that out there. Just
super easy.
We haven't done Revelation yet. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. And at this current point, it's at over 20 parts. So imagine 20 mime songs. Now, granted, some of them are longer. Some of them are shorter than an average mime song.
Shortest is about 2 minutes right now. Longest is probably Christ at this point,
7.
7 minutes. And another long one, Exile, eventually coming, will probably be mine as well.
Yep. And so between all of that, we're trying to put together the entire Bible in mime and, really hit home the ideas of the Old Testament, looking forward to Jesus in the New Testament, and then how all that wraps together in Jesus. And just, it's going to be a great time.
Speaking of Jesus, because that's what we're going to be looking at today. Well, and today and the next 2 weeks following, we're going to be looking at about 4 songs. We'll do 1 video today, 2 next week, and 1 the next week. Nice little sandwich there. But it makes sense because today is on Coronation. So it picks up where Christ left off. Not literally, but then the song Christ.
Yeah, Christ. Yeah. The song Christ.
Song Christ, yeah.
Not Jesus Christ, but Christ. Yes. Don't get it confused.
It's very complicated. Lazarus just rose from the dead, so the song picks up from there. One of the things that we'll get about is it's kind of confusing if you don't know that little bit. If you just watch the song, the beginning, 20 seconds is a little confusing, and then it makes sense. But and there'll probably be some narration eventually when we do the final project of this. We're picking up at Lazarus here.
And Coronation, being part of Project Understory, was written by this nerd over here.
So I was inspired because this nerd over here just had random songs showing up. So when we finished Christ, he was just going to pick up at the Garden of Gethsemane in the next song. And I'm just but there's a gap. And so I wrote a song to fill the gap, as I do. Kind of my vision is that the whole project would be seamless from transition to transition. So I was inspired, had a few elements that I wanted to highlight. The song being named Coronation might even give you a little bit of nod, wink, kind of ideas.
Wink, nudge.
Yeah, exactly. Of Jesus as coming, reigning king kind of idea. And so the beginning of that, his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, as well as transitioning to the beginning of his condemnation.
Yep. And this was written and presented at the Mime Camp in 2021. So that is where this video comes from as well.
Yeah, it's all, and this one, it'll be all of AIM San Diego, the team that went to Kansas in that year. And then the following ones will kind of be group mimes that both us and the Kansas team and other people hopped in on.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we do it? Let's get into it. So yeah, as I mentioned, this song picks up end of Story of Lazarus. So if you're wondering why are they hugging Joseph there, it's because he was supposed to be Lazarus. And then you have disciples on Jesus's left, our right. So part of my vision for this song is multiple times where the scene is kind of different from Jesus. So Jesus knowing the crucifixion that's ahead, giving some warning to that, and so he'll both tell his disciples here in a moment as well as cry. One thing that kind of distracts from the song is these people going into the city. That probably will not be in the final thing, but I needed people over there because the highlight's supposed to be on the left with Jesus telling his disciples that he's going to die. Also a nice set piece of the song. People standing in the doors go, no, it's a gate.
Yeah, the little gate, pretty nice.
It's kind of fun if you want to rewind and see how they kind of come out and start as a wall and then open up that one spot. Also, we establish that it's a gate in this song with multiple people coming through, but it's supposed to be at least the disciples coming in and out of the city with the guard there to kind of establish the inside. If I had more people, I might establish more people inside of the city, but I didn't want to distract too much with the number of people we had. And then the big set piece of the song. The wall opens up and becomes the city streets of all the people coming out. Hosanna in the highest.
No, they are throwing their palm leaves on the floor.
Yep. I don't know if we'll do real props for that, but the idea of just being the road of celebration being followed in a few songs by the road of suffering.
And there's the Last Supper, and they're just like speed running communion.
Oh, speedrun communion, yeah. But I wanted to emphasize the Judas and Peter moment, and partly because that's going to show up in the next 2 songs, and actually next like 3 songs if you count Peter. Judas, unfortunately, does not have much follow-up after the next song.
Wait, don't say.
I do love this little musical transition as it sounds gardeny almost, like, I don't know, almost video gaming. Had to go real quick. Matthew's gospel has him go into Peter 3 times, but Mark only has it once, so we're going with the once version.
For the sake of time.
Yeah.
We agree with Mark.
Yeah, pretty much. Welp. That's the song.
Welp.
Welp. That saying that you want to leave Midwest home, just slap your knees and say, welp. Stand up, and that's like, oh, guess we're done. Gotta leave now.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
But we don't need to leave now, because we have a lot to say about this song. So let's get into the purpose and message. Purpose is project under story.
Yeah, done. Of course. But, I mean, you already kind of touched on the purpose of this song even existing. Kind of the transition between those two. Like, for me, whenever I was outlining things, which of course I was totally okay with people changing things to make sure that things worked.
Good, because I added a lot of songs.
Yeah, like I think
the song started at like 13, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it started like 13, 15 songs or something like that, and now it's at 23 as of today.
Yeah. We just be like, but we need more time to talk about this, and we just trilogize one episode.
Yeah,
we're basically like the Hobbit franchise, making 3 songs out of one idea.
Yeah, basically.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? I think it's better for it, so I'm not arguing. But so my philosophy with it was like, okay, so these are the main points that we're hitting on, and to end at Jesus's miracles and then start at Gethsemane, it does technically skip over like the betrayal. But my thought was you could start with the betrayal and then just like quickly go into Gethsemane and then what happens there, because there wasn't a whole lot that really I thought was so vital. But then Samuel disagreed, and you know what? Looking back, I think Samuel was correct. And, and I appreciate the fact that the song exists to kind of give us that transition point, especially the entering of Jerusalem, the Last Supper of betrayal and all that.
Yeah, as this project has developed, one of the things that we've highlighted greatly is kind of 4 tropes or typology of Jesus, of him being prophet, priest, king, and suffering servant. That last one doesn't get touched on a lot, but we'll talk about it more when we get to some of the other parts of the project. But here, one of the elements of him being king, that coronation ceremony felt appropriate to the themes, as well as the betrayal from his 2 disciples there. That will be picked up in the next song, and so having it start here feels like an appropriate development. So it's not just a throwaway song, it's not a 20-second hop from here to here thing, just hitting a few elements, as well as the set piece of kind of the city that we've transitioned from Jesus's miracles to he's about to become king, but in an ironic twist.
Yeah, but the whole upside down kingdom theology.
Yeah, we'll get into that in the theology section. Well, there's not much, and not here, probably in Coronation. Or not Coronation, sorry, Consolation. All the C's are throwing me off, man.
Yeah, what do you know? So it was almost on purpose.
Yeah, we name everything with a C. Confuse me. I can't even spell these words. Coronation. It's not coronation. It's coronation. I keep wanting to spell it like with an E in the middle.
Well, just remember, coronavirus.
Oh no, that's
because like
that's gonna help me remember, and that's bad.
Yeah, I know. Like, and I'm just saying, like that's where it comes from. Crown. Corona is a crown.
Crazy.
So coronation.
So fun fact. Here to here, breaking the line. You can use that in your homeschool class.
Oh man.
Okay, so praiseworthy aspects. I'll default to you to let you say first, and I'll be say I like the song, but
it's trash.
Oh man, it's so bad. I can't believe I wrote such a terrible song.
No, I do like some of the some of the stylistic aspects of it, like with the gate, I think is one of like its kind of neater, unique aspects to it.
It's definitely what made me excited to do the song, not just as a filler, but like as a having a cool thing in it.
Yeah, and like, most of the time when we have a gate, we'll have like guards standing on it or something like that. So the fact that we had like a wall of 00 people and then they fold out and then open, like it's just like completely unnecessary, but absolutely necessary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the purpose of the project, not just Bible and Mime, but to also push ourselves in the creative storytelling aspects and not just doing the same old tropes the same old way we did it. Yeah. So we've pushed ourselves in coming up with new ways of organizing our mimes. And I don't think there's another song that does it.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I do think other things, like I already talked about, like being able to make sure that the project has those transitional points, that's another big positive for it. And while it's a little bit unclear, I do appreciate that like you have the difference between Judas and Peter and how that's kind of outlined there. Granted, it's like a 5-second scene, and of course it's mime. How are you going to work with it as much as you can? But
it might help when you have Christ preceding it, because again, those two characters will be highlighted a few times. So maybe at some point you get a little bit better at that. I don't envision Christ ever having 12 disciples all at once just because of clarity issues, but however many people end up following Jesus during that song, those two characters will be highlighted a few different times. That'll help.
Yeah. So I think one of the other, probably the last thing that I would give good credit to is, while it is kind of a message that often doesn't get portrayed, I think it's pretty clear, honestly. Because even without the narration that may or may not happen in the future, I think it does get the point across. Like, sure, at the very beginning, like people hugging and stuff like that, out of context, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
In context, it will.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, excluding that, I think we kind of get it. Like, maybe not specifically that he's going to Jerusalem at first, but then, you can see the people like putting down the palm leaves and stuff. I think that does give the, this is that moment kind of realization. So yeah, I think it's pretty clear for what it is.
No, and in choreographing it, you'll notice there's a lot of stuff that happened in the week leading up to Jesus' death that was left out. So you don't have any of him turning over money changer tables, or like the woman who breaks the alabaster jar and washes his feet and head with it. Like, all of that skipped because there's just not time, and it, while important, doesn't emphasize kind of the hit points that we're hitting on for the project's sake. So it wasn't like everything was crammed into it, but the notable elements, I felt the ones I picked, I liked what's in there.
Yep.
So anything that you might edit or change?
Trash the whole. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, like I said, beginning is just what it is.
Yeah.
The weakness is it really doesn't necessarily stand completely on its own. Like, if it did, I would cut out the first like 20 seconds and just pick up from the entry in Jerusalem.
Yeah, I think that probably is its weakest point, but also, once again, necessary kind of things.
Right, it just depends.
Not a whole lot you can do.
Exactly, the purpose. It doesn't stand alone, it fits together. Go figure.
Yeah. And then I think something else that I probably would try to fix, some of the transitions between there. I mean, we kind of talked about it, like when the gate opens, people go through. It does draw the attention that way.
Right.
And then there are a lot of people moving at once, kind of draws the eye there, and it makes it detract from where it should be.
Yeah.
There's some little technical aspects of it.
In the final thing, those people won't go over there. Also, because this was going to be at Mime Camp, at the very end, you'll see like two people go all the way to stage right. And that wouldn't necessarily happen in the final product the way, with all the people. We just one short on people, and in the next song they had to get over there. And so there was no way to avoid that, just as where we were at practically.
Yeah, I mean, it was some things you just got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. So little things that stage-wise could edit, but again, not the final ultimate product. Theologically, anything you would note? I think we kind of highlighted Jesus' triumphal entry as king, but then we'll be foreshadowing his tragic death.
Yep. I think you kind of said it earlier when, talking about like there was a lot of other stuff that happened during the Passion Week, if you want to call it that. And that kind of got omitted. But ultimately, it's like you got to kind of pick and choose what we can fit, because we have like 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So if we wanted to do the Bible in Mime, do you know how long it takes just to straight read the Bible?
Yeah, the abridged version of the Bible, you're still talking hours.
Right, exactly. So we're happy to get it down between, I think, 1.5 hours to 2 hours is going to be the final thing.
That's somewhere like what we're looking at.
Yeah, so I'm happy with what we've got. We got a nice movie.
Yeah.
clarity, difficulty, style.
Man,
Let's do it.
Subverting the style to make it just normal, so that way it's like, wow, all the other ones were all stylized, and then you just bring it back to the normal.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that crazy. Dang.
I think long hours. I'm like awake for hours at night trying to think of how I'm going to stay styled differently.
Dang, that's intense.
I'm not. That was a lie. Mash that like, scribe. Anyway.
How dare you? I have one pleasure in life.
I stay up late at night thinking about how I'm going to stay style, and you're just mash that like, scribe.
Mm-hmm.
Mash that like, scribe.
I say that, at the end of my shift at work. You're like, see you guys later. Mash that like, scribe.
That's basically how you say goodbye to people instead of like, Lord be with you or peace be with you. It's like, mash that like, scribe.
Yep. Basically.
Everyone's like, you know what? I actually get what that means. I feel that. It's a vibe. So then, clarity. You already kind of mentioned relatively clear song.
Yeah.
But what are you going to rate it?
-4. No. I think like because of its clarity on like not needing the narration, but still getting the point across. I feel like the points that I would deduct from it are like the purpose of why that's important. Because yes, those things did happen, and that's awesome. And the fact that we can highlight them is very important. The purpose of them is missing. So I'd give it like, I'm looking at like a 7 or an 8. I'm probably going to round up to an 8.
Yeah, I think 8's what I'm going to give it as well. We will add some narration. I don't want to be over burdensome with narration. I think I want to let this mime actually speak for itself. But like you said, the purpose being highlighted a little bit more. So that's probably why I'm going to round up giving an 8. Difficulty. We've only presented it once ever, and I taught it very quickly as far as the actual logistics. One thing I'm a little bit picky on is with that wall, if you don't kind of like burst open or like those people don't turn around really fast, it can just feel like nothing special and just kind of molding into it. I wanted those turns to be quick, powerful, and to feel like the scene popped all of a sudden and came from this like mild melodramatic Jesus crying to celebration all of a sudden. So that would be the like mime wise, just making sure that happens. But everything else it's an instrumental song that is relatively slow.
Yeah, no, I'd kind of agree. Not the most difficult song. Not really a lot of technical prowess other than the gate.
Yeah, exactly. 2.5 minutes, so it's short.
It's short. Like it's got a lot of the aspects of kind of an easier song. So I don't know. I'm looking at like a 5. I think is what I'm going to give it.
I'm going to give it a 4. It again, I taught it really quick to my team who was going through a bunch of long week, and so already learning a bunch of songs is like super easy and cakewalk compared to other things. So 4.
Yeah.
Style wise, it has the gate that we've mentioned ad nauseam.
Have we talked about the gate?
Yeah. I love gates, man. Gates are great.
Man, it's
like
breaking the gate.
Almost as good as circles. If you watched any of my like choreography, I should have a playlist on the digital mime of songs that I've choreographed. There's actually enough on there that would be interesting to see my choreography, mostly because I like circles. Circles are just great transitions and really interesting in my opinion, which I didn't do a circle in this song, so I know, proud of myself. You know,
that's growth.
It's growth. But yeah, style wise, it's pretty low. I think it's interesting. It has cool elements. I don't know. Is a 4 too high or too low?
I was gonna go 4, honestly.
4, yeah.
That's kind of where I was leaning. Yeah, because for the same reasons, it's not really breaking any bounds except for the gate. You know, of course.
Have you heard about the gate?
Have we talked about the gate? But
it's
like
more of a door. No.
But like, yeah, it's just people here. They're saying things, doing things, going this place. Like, there's not really breaking any bounds, not really moving any cool directions or anything like that. But nevertheless, its purpose was to be kind of a story transition to help solidify some of the events of the coronation of Jesus.
Exactly.
So yeah, while it's maybe not breaking some bounds, it still serves its purpose, and I feel like that's good.
Yep. So with all that said, thank you for joining us for part 1 of our trilogy of Project Understory. I already said mash that like script, so there's nothing else for you to say.
Mash that like. Oh yeah, wait, sorry, what?
Yeah. So anyway, hit the like button. It's good stuff. Say hi to us in the comment. We're lonely down there. I check it. You know, if you're watching this, just say hi to me. I'd appreciate it. It makes me happy.
Say hi, Samuel. I might even do that.
Yeah, you should do that.
Or maybe I'll forget.
Probably will. You don't comment on any of the videos. You don't even read my comments down there.
Yeah, you're right.
I comment on like every other video, and you're just like, psh. Come on, you have a YouTube channel to run, man.
Think I have time for that?
All right, join us next week. We'll talk about next two parts in the song. But until then, I'm Samuel.
And I'm Charleton.
Breaking the line.